Good morning, everybody. Sean Miller, Jim Williams here. Sean, we talked yesterday a little bit about TCU and Georgia, and both of us thought Georgia would win. I don't think I thought they were going to win by that amount, but they certainly made a statement last night, 65-7 over, the number 3 seed in the tournament, the TCU Horned Frogs. So Georgia back-to-back national champions. And to be honest, you have to favor them for next season.
Yeah, I can. They lost 15 players in the draft and just did that in the championship game. They're the number 2 recruiting class coming in. It doesn't matter. They might get a quarterback. Stetson Bennett's been unbelievable in his time, but they might get a better. Imagine them with a better quarterback. I mean, it's a little bit blasphemous to say better quarterback because he's done everything you could ask of him, but obviously he's not gonna be a first round pick. I don't think. I do think some team will take a chance on him because he's a winner, and I think he could do a job in the pros. But imagine this team with I don't know, like a
Caleb Williams,
and someone like that. Like it's just. I mean, the game was over. We talked before the show. I mean, it's 17-7 in the first quarter. TCU punted from midfield on like 4th and 3. And I was like, that's the game. And just, they got embarrassed. You can't punt in games like that. You just got to go. I mean, at the end of the day, you lose 65-7. You can't be punting. You have to score points, every time you have the ball. And it's just, I mean, it's embarrassing, to be honest. I mean, Georgia's just absolutely annihilated them and threw a marker down for next year and, for the future that this program's not going away. I thought Georgia over 37 points team total was the biggest lock of all time. I couldn't understand how Michigan scored 45 points against them.
Right.
There's Amedeus. Michigan 45 points and really should have scored about 60. And Georgia's offense is better. So, the team total 37 points, and it was over at halftime. I mean, the game was over in the first quarter. So
I'm sorry. I was just going to say Amedeus is wearing his TCU hat.
You watch that, Amedeus?
I'm not wearing my TCU hat. This is my Dodgers hat.
Oh, your Dodgers? Okay, fair enough.
Yes. That game, I said Georgia was going to destroy. I actually missed the first quarter. I didn't realize it. Sorry?
So did TCU.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize it had started, and I said, "Oh my God, the game's on! I gotta turn it." So I flip in, and I was just caught when Georgia kicked the field goal to make it 17-7, and then so I missed the first quarter, and then I didn't need to watch after the second quarter because it was 38-7 going into halftime.
You just said, that TCU punted at I think they were
near the 50-yard line.
They were at the 50-yard line. It was 17-7. TCU punted as is like the game's over because you can't. You have to go score for score in a game like this. I mean, the only way TCU stayed in the game with Michigan is they got 2 picks. So if TCU doesn't get 2 pick sixes, they get blown out by Michigan. They lose by 20. So they have to go score for score. You need some breaks. They got a little break early when they turned the ball over and they held Georgia to a field goal. But once Georgia got up 10-0, TCU scored. But when you're down 2 scores there, you can't afford not to score because as soon as Georgia gets the ball back and scores, the game's over. You're not going to come back on Georgia because they're just going to pin their ears and just go after the quarterback. And it's just. I don't know. I mean, I was watching some of it. I watched towards the end because I just wanted to see what Bennett said. This guy's he's just a winner. People are busting on him because he's 25. I don't really care. I mean, he just went 30-0 in 2 years and won 2 national titles. And he's been the MVP of every game he's played in, every bowl game. I mean, the guy just has monster games.
Well, he's responsible for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, 6. He had 2 rushing and 4 passing. I mean, this guy, like, look, once again, I mean, you see what the Jets quarterbacks are doing. I mean, this guy's better. Like, he could do a job more than the Jets quarterback. It's crazy. I mean,
it's Matt Jones.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think something like that, or he's a system guy. But look, there's enough systems in the Alabama coaching tree, Georgia, whatever, Kirby Smart. These guys go into the pros and do well in certain systems. He's not Caleb Williams. He's not CJ Stroud, but he puts up crazy numbers. And
we talked yesterday about Kenny Pickett. He's a systems guy, and he got in there in the middle of the season, found his footing, and is learning, which is all you can ask of a rookie quarterback. And Malik, down in Tennessee, he would have been around for the rest of the season had he not gotten hurt. So these system guys, as you say, and I agree wholeheartedly, there's a place, you can always find a place for a systems guy.
Of course. Look, I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't, he's a little small. Okay, it's whatever. Look, you can make 100 things about him, but, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys, would you rather have a guy who puts up great numbers and doesn't win big games, or would you rather have a guy who, is the MVP of every bowl game he's ever played in and just, won about 50 straight games in a row? Like, it's not like, I don't know if he's going to be a, starter in the pre. He might be a very good backup, but he's going to be, he's going to be there at some point. Someone should take a shot. I mean, Amedeus. I mean, if you brought a winner like that into the Cardinals, would you, and he's back up to Murray. I mean,
make him the starter, man. I heard Steve Keim stepped down finally yesterday. Finally, maybe we get a real GM. But now I'm hearing Michael Bidwell is giving Kyler Murray say in the next coach. The guy's a child. Don't give that kind of player say in the next coach. The locker room doesn't even want to follow Kyler Murray. They're not going to buy into the next coach.
Well, plus you don't know how he's going to be next year. He just tore his ACL at the end of the season. I mean, he'll be back on the field, but he's not going to be 100% until 2024. So, I don't know. Let
me remind you guys of something. This is the Bidwell family, okay? They still have the first dime that they turned over. Whenever. I mean, this team goes all the way back to Chicago when they were the Chicago Cardinals. Okay. So, no. I mean, any thought that they're going to go out and spend money on a coach is laughable. So,
yeah. Why do you think the report came out where it's like, oh, Vance Joseph is the leading candidate? Yeah, of course, because it's easy. He's the defensive coordinator. Is already there.
You can date whoever you want to, but it's not going to, it has to be 2 people wanting to be involved with this. And right now, that's any place where the quarterback's in charge of picking the coach and you don't have a general manager scares me. Why wouldn't you not hire the GM first, then bring the coach in?
Well, you can say what you want about some of these great players, but they still need coaching and management there. Like, you can't let Tom Brady run the team. First of all, look at how it's working out for LeBron James out in LA. The Lakers suck. They've sucked for the last 2 years. They traded away the whole team to get Russell Westbrook, and they don't even like each other now. So, like, it's ridiculous. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Give me the money, trade away our best wide receiver. You missed the playoffs, and now you want to retire. Like, you can't let the players run the team.
That's right.
It's funny. Back in Miami, when LeBron was in Miami, the first year he was there, he went down to Pat Riley's office, and he said to Pat, "You need to get rid of Eric Spoelstra, and you need to come and coach this team." And Pat Riley told LeBron, "You need to get back upstairs to the court and play." He goes, "That's your job. My job is to take care of the coach. My job is to take care of making sure you got the players on the team. You got the players on the team to win. Go do what you do. You play, bolster coaches, I general manage, because that's how it works here in Miami. If you want to go someplace else, go someplace else. But,
Yeah, Spoelstra's there to this day.
Yep. And Spoelstra is still a great coach. I mean, good defensive coach
last year.
Yeah. So, no, to both your points, allowing any player in any sport to run the show is tantamount to disaster. It's not going to end well.
Look at what happened. I give you a present day example. Look at what happened to Manchester United as soon as they got rid of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
They've won 14 or 15. I mean, they just they're trying to. He's running the show. As soon as they got rid of him, and he's not even. It's the same. You see the same thing a lot. Aaron Rodgers, Ronaldo, Brady. LeBron. These guys are all older, who think they're still good, like they were 10 years ago. They think they're still like they can't wrap their brain around the fact that they're old and they're aging and they're getting their skills are diminishing, and they want to do this stuff, and it ends up these players get they get players traded and fired and stuff like that. But then when someone puts their foot down and says no, that's usually when the rebuild can continue, whatever it is, and then you end up getting. When you hang on to these teams, we talked about it yesterday with the Phillies. When you hold on to these people too long, it just prolongs the rebuild, and it just makes it worse, to be honest, because you're usually paying them a lot of money because they're these guys that were making a lot of, they're superstars at one point, and you can't do it like that. It's just you got to rebuild.
At some point, you have to just bite the bullet and go, it's not going to, we're going to have a few bad years, but give us time and we'll get back. And those are seemingly the franchises that, do well year in and year out. I don't know about what the Cardinals are going to do. I don't know
Well, that's the thing with
the
the Cardinals.
Right? I'm sorry, Denver's going to do. But
they're retiring Sean Payton.
Yeah.
No, they just interviewed Harbaugh this morning, I heard. But
which one? The Michigan guy? Or
he's
a loser, man. I don't want that guy. I'll take the other. I'll take the other one. I think Mark Eckel thinks that if Harbaugh, if they go out early or something like that, he thinks Harbaugh could go. The NFL Harbaugh could go and maybe find a new challenge or something like that. The interesting thing is, the Rams might be open,
right?
It's that's an interesting job because that team, obviously Super Bowl champion, but they imploded this year because of a million injuries. I mean, it just sometimes it happened to the Broncos when Broncos had won 2 in a row,
right?
And then Elway retired, and then they had Brian Griese, and then they just Terrell Davis got an injury, and then they just implode the whole it just all those extra games. It just happens sometimes, and that team will be very good next year, I think. So
yeah, but. I'm gonna float something out here for you guys and tell me what you think. If Dallas loses Monday night in Tampa, I think Sean Payton to the Cowboys.
Yeah, Jim, I totally agree with you. This was something I think I touched a bit on last week too. You got to think the Cowboys story is the same year after year. The great regular season. Oh, they're looking so good, and then they hit the playoffs, and they're out in the first round. And I totally agree with you because I've been hitting on this point that Sean Payton said his number 2 teams are the Chargers and the Cowboys. And Jerry Jones, obviously, everybody knows, Sean Payton's his dream coach. So absolutely, I think if they have another first-year exit in Tampa this year, there's definitely a possibility that Mike McCarthy's gone. They bring in Sean Payton. And you know what? Maybe Dallas goes further. I think that there's a chance, even that could happen to the Chargers. I know Sean loves Brandon Staley so much, but if they have a first round exit in Jacksonville, you got to think maybe something's going on there because they have a lot of good pieces there, but can't seem to get anything going.
But before we move on, because we will move on to soccer, what about the situation with regard to Dak Prescott? I don't know how much is left in Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he's injury prone is the thing, right? Like it always seems.
Yeah, but I mean, these aren't the kind of injuries you usually. The older you get, the harder it is to come back from any injury, but not from what he's getting. That's really a lift.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Dak Prescott. I mean, it all depends, I guess, if they do bring in Sean Payton, what he would want to do with the team. Is he looking to rebuild with a draft his own quarterback, or does he want like already a veteran guy there? So I guess it's going to depend a lot on the coach, I would say. I know that Sean Payton, I actually heard a story that he almost drafted Patrick Mahomes, and he told this story about how he like it was so secret they went to go scout him, and he told everybody who went with him, he goes, we're going straight to the facility and then back to the plane. We don't tell a soul we were here. And then in the draft, literally they were at the 10th, or they were the 11th pick or whatever he said, and then on the 10th pick, obviously Kansas City traded. And that's when he knew. He turned to the table. He's like, all right, we're getting Marshawn Lattimore. But, so, like, he scouted Patrick Mahomes. He said he's never scouted a better player than Patrick Mahomes. So I think maybe you might have a point. He might be looking for something like that, a young quarterback that he scouts himself, that he sees a lot of potential in and wants to build him up from scratch.
I thought for a minute you were going to go that they're going to try to make a trade for Patrick Mahomes.
No. But I'm just saying, like, maybe that's what he's missing, right? He had Drew Brees for so long, Hall of Famer, right? But maybe he wants that new challenge of, I want to scout the guy who I think is going to be the next Mahomes or whatever, and I want to just, bring him up.
Let me build him. So, anyway. All right, boys. Any good stuff on the docket today in the world of soccer?
You got the Carabao Cup
quarters, right?
Yeah.
Good old quarters. As Foxy would say, can't trust Newcastle at that price.
Look, here, let's share the screen.
Share the glass.
Yeah, there's got I'll show you the games here today. You got Manchester United, Charlton Athletic, the lowest seeded team, or not seeded, but lowest team in the League One in the tournament. It's all Premier League teams except for Charlton Athletic. Inter plays Parma in the Coppa Italia. Wrexham back playing against Bromley, and then you got the KNV Becker tournament, which you had some decent games today. Sparta Rotterdam, whatever. But we'll kind of look at these games here today. Manchester United, Charlton Athletic. This line was actually up close to minus 1,000 yesterday. I saw it minus 9 something, and then now it's down to minus 670. Newcastle was minus 1 something, and now they're up at minus 200. So now I think when you look at the Asian lines here, the Asian handicap minus 2 isn't terrible, minus 157. I don't really know how to bet this game, to be honest. Probably the safest way to do it would be win to nil, I think. I don't know what lineup they're going to put out there because they play City on Saturday. But they also rested some players on Friday against Everton. So I think they're going to play a pretty strong lineup. Defensively, it depends. Interesting to see if they play Jack Butland, who just signed. Defensively, I think they'll be pretty strong. be it Wan-Bissaka, Delo, because he needs a little bit of time. Malacia, Luke Shaw, whoever it is. So I think they'll be pretty strong. They're at the point now where, even if they play, let me see if I can get this Sportsmole. When you look at the team that Sportsmole says might play, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Malacia. It's not a terrible team. I'm not like it's a little bit weakened. I don't love Fred and McTominay in the middle. I'm not a big fan of Alanga, but Garnacho, Martial. The back four is pretty good. So I would think they probably win to 0. I can't imagine them losing. I mean, maybe it happens, but I can't imagine them losing. I think they win this game pretty easily. I don't know. What do you, Amedeus? How would you kind of go about looking at this game?
Yeah, it's definitely a tougher one to bet just because Man United had their stronger lineup in their FA Cup match on Friday. I think this is a bit of a weaker lineup if that's what we're going to see, what Sportsman says. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they should still beat Charlton, but, I don't know Man United's motivation. I would think because it's a quarterfinal, they're going to try, but with the weakened lineup, I don't trust them to win by the -2 or 3 goals you need to lay with them. And obviously you said they have the big derby match coming up. So this is a bad sandwich spot, I would think. I don't really want any part in this game.
I just think they're going to probably, I can't imagine Charlton Athletic is going to score. I mean, maybe United wins 2-0, something like that. And win to 0 is, you got decent price. I mean, it's -120, -125. So I think that's not, Manchester United to win at least 1/2. You don't want to take that at -1667. The other game, I think, Newcastle went out of the cup. I don't know if Foxy's here or not.
We would definitely know if Foxy was here yet.
I was going to say, he'll make his presence noticed. Especially talking Newcastle and United.
Right.
I think Newcastle has to win this game. I know they're fighting for top 4, but you can't, they threw away one trophy, and I think they could have done decently in that FA Cup. I just don't think you can throw chances away. But that being said, Leicester isn't the worst team ever, and they could be targeting a trophy here because when you look at the Premier League table, Leicester is they're only 2 points out of the bottom 3 here, which is a little. If I was a Leicester fan, I'd be a little bit wary of that because they've allowed a lot of goals. They're probably too good to go down, but all of a sudden, if they start, they lost 3 in a row since they've come back. You look at the fixtures coming up. They're at Forest, Brighton, tough game, at Villa, derby game, at Spurs, at United, look at this, at Spurs, they play Spurs, at United, Arsenal, Southampton, Chelsea, at Brentford. I mean, that's a brutal stretch. So
Chelsea with their new shiny Joao Felix.
Is that definitely done?
It's a verbal agreement, is what I heard.
Supposedly, United has 48 hours to match, but we'll see. I can't imagine. We'll see. I mean, Chelsea so now they have 17 players that are going to play in that same position. I just don't understand. They need a number 9, but that's for another day. That's for Thursday when they play Fulham. I think Leicester, I don't know how they go about this. Leicester won a trophy 2 years ago. They won the FA Cup. So, Silverware would be big for them. I don't know if I mean, do you trust Newcastle to win by 2 goals here?
No, see, that's the thing. And I saw Newcastle they're supposed to have a strong lineup, most of their guys, but it still doesn't fix the fact that Chris Wood is up there striking. So
I mean,
yeah.
-1 on the Asian handicap is still -125. I mean, that seems like a lot to lay for I just 1.5 is +143. I mean, I don't know. Newcastle could win this game easily.
Leicester is not going to have a weak lineup either, though. They're going to have, I think James Maddison is starting. They're going to have their guys, a lot of their starters like Tielemans. I think their starting three is going to be, or for the forwards anyway, it's going to be Hinacho and Daka, and I forget who the other one was. But yeah, I don't think Vardy's getting the start, but they're still going to have a somewhat decent lineup here, I think. And I agree that, Newcastle threw away the other cup. They're probably going to come play more for this one because obviously it's the quarterfinals. But yeah, this could be, you could lay the -1 and you could end up just pushing because it's probably going to be a 1-goal win.
Any thoughts on this Inter-Parma game?
I mean,
you don't like cup games.
I don't like cup games, but I don't know how you would bet. I don't want to lay Inter Milan by 2.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really.
They just blew a lead against Monza. First of all, over the weekend, the Italian league was terrible. The story was just, blown leads everywhere, defensive issues. Only Atalanta got the win yesterday somehow. And obviously Napoli won their game. But this is what I mean. Inter Milan beat Napoli in their first match back from the break. Huge win. That cut the table down to Napoli had a 7-point lead, and then they were only 4 points after that. So then what do? Inter Milan's got a perfect opportunity. You're playing one of the worst teams in the league in Monza, just came up from Serie B, and you go and drop points to them, and then Napoli wins. So all that effort to beat them just went right out the window.
And we said about the AC Milan game on Sunday, Sunday was one of those ones where you wake up and go, you can't be serious that they lost that game.
That was brutal. I was in the 85th minute with a 1-0 score, and I was like, oh, my under's looking great. I just have to survive 5 minutes. And then before I even know it, AC Milan couldn't even win the game. And I was like, wow, I'm not going to get my under, and I'm not even going to get a team win.
Yeah, it's a mess. Let's we were talking about Sean and I were talking about ownership and the importance of what's going to open, because PSG was looking to invest in a Premier League team. The owner, I'm sorry, of PSG, not the club. And Sean, you had a couple of targets you thought they may look at.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Manchester United's up for sale, Liverpool's up for sale, and Spurs denied that they met, even though maybe Qatar said they might have. I think if they're going to try to be a minority owner and just invest in a team, I know Liverpool is maybe talking something about that. Then FSG could keep control and they get an injection of cash. But, look, sometimes I just think, maybe that doesn't work. I think Spurs is a much more likely target. They have a brand new stadium. It's in London. Glitzy capital. Levy would keep control, but they would get that injection of cash to turn the team around. That would be my guess. Leeds was mentioned as well. Hopefully it's not Leeds as a United fan, but I think for Manchester United, it sounds like it's going to be a full sale. So look, everything's pointing to Dubai at this point. I think it's been pretty apparent for a while, and I think the Glazers want a full sale, so they're not going to look. If you want to buy the team, Nasser Al Khelaifi, look, buy the team, buy it, or I just they're going to try to maximize the value here at this point. If they get £6 billion or something like this, like PSG's not going to, Qatar's not going to put up $6 billion, to own half the club or own 49.1% of the club, whatever it is. So if Dubai is offering £6 billion or £6.5 billion, they're going to take that at this point. So, but it's interesting. I think when you start having these states buy clubs, first of all, it changes the competitive balance, obviously, but the competitive balance has been changed since 2008. Manchester City owned by a nation state, and Chelsea owned by an oil baron and an oligarch. These two teams were like just, I don't want to say nothing. Manchester City is a nothing club before 2008. They were good 50 years ago. Chelsea, cup team, blah blah blah. But they come in and these teams didn't do anything forever. Now they're at the top. So Newcastle, very good example. So I just I think there's an opportunity. I would guess Tottenham. It's not going to be Arsenal. It's not going to be Brentford or something like this. I mean, they're going to look for one of these big time clubs. So, that Leeds was mentioned, and Leeds obviously was a huge club at one point. Obviously, once again, I mean, they made it to the UEFA Champions League semifinals back in 2001, 2002 around. And then they just fell apart because they didn't make it back to the top four, and they just overspent. But they won the last title before the Premier League, before Manchester United just went crazy and won everything. So it is a big club. But I would look. They're going to probably look. They're in Paris. They're in London. Manchester is obviously a becoming town, but London is London. I mean, it's this. It's the capital of the world, you could argue. So I think they would probably look at Tottenham.
It's funny. You bring up a very important point, and that is, when you get into these, whether it's a individual state like like the UAE or someone like that, they're buying this not because it's an investment, because it is a toy that they want to show off. Therefore, your theory on Spurs makes sense because it's in London, as you just said. Why in God's name would they go anywhere outside of London when they can fly into London, watch the games, enjoy the time, go out to a 4-star restaurant afterwards, and just entertain themselves?
Plus, they have the brand new stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
The Super Bowl is going to be in this stadium at some point in the next. People say I'm crazy for saying it, but they built this stadium for the Super Bowl. They're going to have a Super Bowl here at some point. So, it's people, the time zone, blah, blah, blah. Well, if the Buffalo's in the Super Bowl and they're playing they're playing the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, it's, there's a time zone difference. There's a time zone difference. They're not going to do it there. They're 100% going to play this. That was why the stadium was built. So, look, Liverpool, their stadium is they're fixing it up. It's still a dump. It's still Liverpool. Manchester is nicer, but, their stadium's not great until they build a new stadium, which is blasphemy to some people, but it has to be done. But it's still Manchester. They're building up the town. The town has become like the second city in England. But yeah, it's, I can't imagine they're going to come in and buy Aston Villa, in Birmingham, because Aston Villa's already just got bought, and they, they have place ball. London is London, and as much as we kind of joke about it sometimes on Twitter, it's still London. So
yeah, and it's also important to be able to have, like I said, for them, it's always about the show, and
they do it to look. They're getting probably back Charlton or draw to somehow make it to halftime at plus 420. Yeah, Foxy. I don't know what the lineup. If Manchester United puts their lineup out, if they play, Martial, Garnacho, I think, I'd like to see the lineup first. But my thought was maybe Manchester United win to 0, because even if they play, even if they don't play great midfield or whatever, they're probably going to play back four that's pretty solid, and they actually have been pretty solid of late defensively. But yeah, the reason most of these people, these states buy it is, to legitimize their sporting projects, and then by proxy to legitimize the country and everything that they're doing to modernize their country and all this stuff. I mean, that's why the World Cup was in Qatar. It's still, Dubai and it's one of these places that, a lot of people travel there, and they have a lot, they had the IPL when the IPL, the Indian Premier League, the cricket couldn't be in India because of COVID. It was because COVID was blowing up there in 2020. It was either 2020 or 2021. I think I'm sure it was 2020. They moved it to Dubai, and they will have some games in Dubai, just because it's so close to there, and they're trying to make this a sporting country. And I think Dubai I don't want to get into geopolitical and all this stuff, but I think of some of these countries, Dubai has, more of a tolerant record on some stuff. And, I think it's more of a place where you can go and, it's not as, hardcore as some of these other places. We blitzed Leicester away a couple weeks ago. No way today's game will be that easy. Leicester didn't deserve to lose away at Liverpool either. Maybe penalties again. Foxy, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about that, but this game is weird to me. I mean, the line is so high. You got to back a -1.5 really for any value. Which I think, I think Amedeus agreed that it's probably going to be maybe a 1-goal game at most. And, Leicester, I think Leicester think that maybe they could win a trophy again. So, I mean, they're probably both going to go into this game thinking, hey, listen, we could probably get a win here. And I forget who Newcastle plays on the weekend. I think they play.
looking at the schedule up.
They play Fulham Sunday, and then Palace away. So they play all London teams for the next 3 weeks. They play Fulham, Crystal Palace, at Crystal Palace, which I think is going to be tough. The good thing about that Newcastle and the Fulham game is Fulham's playing Chelsea on Thursday, so maybe Fulham has to rotate a little bit there, because they'll think they could batter Chelsea in that game because they're higher in the table. But yeah, they don't have, they got the Liverpool, Brighton, City, Wolves, Forest, United coming up in February, March, April. So they have, I think they have a chance here to win a trophy. So they'll probably go for it. So, but yeah, look at, it's, I don't know. But they, once again, about Dubai and some of these other places, I think that's more of what it's about here.
We did get some good news about Darnell. He's out of the hospital. He's going to another hospital. He's leaving Cincinnati and was flown back to Buffalo. So that's encouraging encouraging information simply based on last week and what we knew last week at this time, which was some pretty grim news. So it seems like everything is going in the right direction, which is fantastic news on that regard. So, guys, what about, we're getting down to the situation where the NFL playoffs are starting this week. Is there a surprise team? Somebody you think, all right, this team didn't really look that great until either the end of the season or, this is where they're going to shine?
When I look at the bracket, let's see. I think Tampa beats Dallas. I just think that's, going to be interesting. Brady playing on Monday night. And then Tampa's going to play the Eagles. I think they could win that game. I think Hurts.
Wouldn't they? I mean, Tampa's the 4th seed.
But they're 8-9.
No, I understand.
I think Tampa could. I think there's a path for Tampa to make the NFC Championship game. I don't think maybe the Giants could beat Minnesota. I think that's a pretty good matchup for them. Buffalo's going to annihilate Miami. Cincinnati should be both around. I don't even know who's going to play quarterback. San Francisco's going to annihilate Seattle. Los Angeles, Jacksonville. Maybe if Los Angeles wins, they would play Buffalo, which would be interesting. No, they play Kansas City, which would be interesting. So maybe the Chargers. I don't trust that guy Staley, though. I mean, the team I see maybe is Tampa making a run to the NFC Championship game. Even if the Giants beat Minnesota, they're going to get killed by San Francisco. I think the Chargers could possibly play well against Kansas City if they win, but it's just hard. I don't see any. The only team I see is Tampa. I don't know, Amedeus, if you think there's going to be. I don't think there's really going to be too many upsets in the first round, to be honest. I mean, Tampa's an underdog by 3. San Francisco's a double-digit favorite. Buffalo's a double-digit favorite. Cincinnati's a touchdown favorite. The only games that are close are Los Angeles, Jacksonville's a pick, or maybe Chargers are -1. Minnesota's -3, -3.5, something like that. So, I don't even know if those would be like too much of an upset.
I think the Jaguars are a team that could probably make a run. They were getting very hot near the end of the season. They didn't look great against the Titans, but they still found a way to win that game. And that's just what Doug Peterson does. He's a really good coach. We saw him in this situation, 5 years ago when he won with the Eagles, and he won the Super Bowl having to throw his backup quarterback in when they got to the playoffs. So, this guy knows all about adversity. Jim loves to touch on the fact that the Jaguars were just 2-6 halfway through the season, and here we are, division winners, winning record. I think the Jaguars, they're just a tough team. They had that huge win over the Chargers earlier in the year, 36-22 or something like that. And that's when you really knew. That's when the Jaguars started to catch your eye. You really started to think, this is a good team. The defense is good. Obviously, we know, Trevor Lawrence hasn't thrown an interception in the last few weeks now, or if he has in the last few games, and he's only got 1 or 2 over the last 8 weeks. But yeah, I think it's just Doug Peterson. He's a good coach, and they'll find a way. They'll find a way to go deep.
What was funny the other day was when the Dolphins game was over, and the Dolphins coach goes into his press conference, and he looked stunned that they were in playoffs. It was like, you know, so we're there, huh? Okay, good to know. Not exactly the kind of inspirational, psyching that you would expect to be, from somebody who just made the playoffs. Maybe he's stunned that they did. I don't know, but it was, it was a wild one in that regard. I'll tell you. But
they didn't play great in that game.
I've heard that the Chargers are probably going to go east earlier in the week and spend some time, just getting acclimated. So it's tough for West Coast teams to come east. It's a little easier for East Coast teams to go west. That jet lag is a bit of a problem, for you, especially when you're getting out playing a 1 o'clock game, which is like, playing a 9 o'clock game in California. So it's a toughie. But some good. I think that the NFL did a good job of spreading out the games on over the 3 days, where they're all going to be. You'll be able to watch them and do either like last night, tune them out, or continue to see what's going on. And it's, we're going to have to go a long way to beat the playoffs of last year. That was just one great game after another great game after another.
Jim, you said that tickets were going for $2,000 to go to that game last night. If I'm a TCU fan, I'm lined up at the school this morning asking for my money back. And if I'm a Georgia fan, hell, I'm asking for half my ticket price back because I didn't need to stay for the second half in that game. The game was over at halftime.
But, in the immortal words of Mattress Matt, he takes your money, you spend your money, you take your chances. Yeah, that was pretty strange. And, I don't know.
Did you guys hear about Shaq?
What's going on with him?
He's got to eat a horned frog now because Georgia won.
Oh.
Yeah, he made a bet that he was like, if Georgia wins, I'll eat a horned frog.
Never do that.
He bought into the TCU hype.
Honestly, that's just. I could see if it was Charles, but Shaq. I thought Shaq could do it. That's not.
I don't know who bet him. It might have been Charles.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. They do have their moments together.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Like, okay, you eat a horned frog if you're so confident on TCU.
Now that you say it sounds like something Chuck would say. Like, okay.
Oh yeah.
What was the other thing? What would the?
I don't know, because it was like it was so outrageous. That's all I got like for notifications all week. It was just Shaq.
He didn't have to eat a dog after that was over, right?
Yeah, no. But yeah, it was like, and I even saw last night he posted something on Instagram. It was like him making a face, and the caption was the face you make when you have to eat a corned frog. So I don't know when he's gonna do it, but keep an eye out. Shaq and the horned frog.
Frog legs are a delicacy, but I'm not so sure the horned frogs are.
Well, that's the thing, right? He never specified, so I'm thinking that's how he's going to get out of it. He's going to be like, I didn't say cooked or not.
That's right. I said I was going to eat a live one.
Exactly.
Jeez, no, I did not see that. And, man, that's a visual that won't be able to get out of my head for the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions from the class here? Anything we got going on from the game?
It's a slower Tuesday for sports.
Yeah, not much. We should get the seedings for the Australian Open.
Oh yeah, that starts 5 days. I guess this would it be Friday?
In the middle of the night on
Sunday night. Sunday night here.
Yeah, Sunday night. So we'll find out, but I would be stunned if Novak Djokovic isn't the top seed on the men's draw.
Well, they have, I guess Tuesday they start all the qualifying matches.
Yes,
so all the bottom of the barrel.
That's today. Well, actually, that means they would have already started.
Yeah, that's no. Actually, I think it says here 6 o'clock tonight.
Our time.
Yeah, so I guess to Wednesday start for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
So they start early in the morning.
Yeah, well, there's like 30 matches they got to get through them to qualifying. But hey, Raducanu won her U.S. Open playing all 10 matches because she had to come from the qualifier. So you never know what you're going to get from these.
There's a number of tournaments where qualifiers have ended up in the quarters or the semis, even the final.
Yeah, and it helps too because if you're that kind of player where you need to build the momentum,
Right.
So I find with some of these like professionals, they get lazy sometimes, and then you see like a big name go out in the first or second round because they weren't really getting into it yet or something like that.
Well, the other thing is you come over here, you haven't played tennis in a couple of months competitively, and you need a warm up. And I'm talking about what is it? You get the first 50 that get the automatic ends, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So if you're below 50, and a lot of them are, then you have to work your way into qualifiers.
Yeah, and it's only 3 out of 3 sets, the qualifiers. So
you can be in and out of that quick.
Exactly, right? You lose 2 sets, and it's not like I have another 3 to come back. You're out.
Oops. Trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We got trouble in River City.
All right.
So, all right. Anything else, guys, you want to talk about today?
I'm good.
Okay. Amedeus, you're good too?
Yeah, like I said, slower day for me. I didn't give out too many plays today.
All right.
Tomorrow's the big day. That's when I guess the Italian league, I think, is having a full slate tomorrow. So
everybody in Italy will be awakened by soccer tomorrow. That's good.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they have their little siesta from noon to.
No Italian games. League One play. Everybody in League One plays tomorrow, though.
Oh, is it the French league? Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the Coupe de France there's a games, and there's AC Milan plays Torino tomorrow though in Coupe Italian, and then also the Spanish Super Cup starts in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Real Madrid plays Valencia, so there are some pretty good games tomorrow.
So we got some good matches for Wednesday.
That's such a play tomorrow. That's always good.
That's usually how it happens. Crappy Tuesday, jam-packed Wednesday.
Yeah, throw everything into the dumpster fire.
Thursday's big too. I mean, you got Premier League and Coppa Italia and Spanish Super Cup. I mean, Friday you got Premier League. Friday you got Napoli, Juventus as well, in Serie A, which is interesting.
That could be big because if Juventus on a roll.
Top 2 right there, yeah. Juventus got to go to Napoli and play, and Napoli wins that. I think the gap goes back to 10. So,
Oy. That's a gap and a half. Well, so all right, boys. So tomorrow we'll go shopping at the Gap and find out what's going on. Well, for Sean, Amedeus, and me, thanks for being with us this morning, gang, and we will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Have a lovely day.